Zidane, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are talking about Hunters Guild Red Hood for quite possibly the last time here on this channel with a full dedicated video. And that is because as of today, the release of this video, the final volume, Hunters Guild Red Hood Volume 3, is officially released. And with that, it's the end. It's the official ending of this truly amazing series, at least here in America. It's quite possible we will never hear anything about this series again, unless Yuki Kawaguchi decides that they want to continue the story. Whatever that new format is, whether it's with a new company or whether it's from us making these videos about how much we enjoy and love this series. Whatever the reason is for this series coming back, if it ever does, then unless it doesn't happen, this is the last video that you will ever see on this channel talking about this truly amazing series, which I still stand by that this series may have been and may be my favorite manga series of all time. And there's a lot. I've read a good number of manga. Remember, at this point in time, I have over 400 volumes of manga, and this series, this small 3-volume series, is my favorite. And it's gonna be sad to see this truly, truly amazing series disappear off the face of the earth. Honestly, I've looked. There's not really anyone else talking about this series. My local bookstore, my local Barnes & Noble, often has these volumes, but I think part of the reason why they have so many is because I've made it my mission to make sure that people are reading it. And unfortunately, I don't know if there will continue to be people who will go out of their way to find this series. After this video, who knows? Who actually knows if people will go into their local bookstore, pick up this series, and think, wow, that is a truly cool story. I'm gonna buy this. We don't know. Whether, and Japan, who knows with them? Will they decide that they're going to suddenly decide that this series is truly amazing and start pulling them off of their shelves? Who knows? Will people over here in America decide, you know what, this is a really good series, I want to read it? At this point in time, I don't think so. I honestly don't think that we can expect this series to come back anytime soon. And I stand by this statement that it left too soon. It was gone way too soon. And I'm sad that I really didn't feel like didn't have the strength to make a final goodbye when the volume or when the chapters were ending over in Japan. But now that the series is done, and it's done here in America, I feel like I need to make my final goodbyes. The first volume is completely just the story of all the way until they make it to Ironworks, and a little bit into it, but still, that's all that the first volume is. The second volume details most of the adventures as they're in Ironworks, and then adds a few little extra bits with the one-shots that the creator made, as well as just a short little thing talking about why they need to conserve water on the ironworks. And the final volume has the last little bit of the story. The part where Velo and the rest of the crew, well, they team up. They all pass their final test. And then after that, we get to see the final battle, the battle against the mayor, and we get to see how this story really meant a lot to the creator. And one thing that I really, really appreciate, especially looking back at it now, is the story that they're telling, that the creator is telling in those last few moments, is a desperation, I don't want to see my series go. I don't want to see these characters be gone because they're forgotten. I want them to continue on their journey, even if nobody else in the world wants to see this series. At least I know that these characters still exist in my mind, and in the minds of all the people who actually did stand up, read the series, and loved it with all of their hearts. That is what those last few moments are. It's making sure that with this story coming to its close, well, it's just the beginning. While the manga may be over, the story still has a long ways to go. And who knows exactly what that will be, but we look forward to eventually seeing that the series may continue. Whether it is with Yuki Kawaguchi or with someone else, or maybe it's not even with Shonen Jump and Viz. Maybe it's gonna go over to Seven Seas or Yen Press or any of the other amazing companies that create manga. Someone will hopefully see this series and realize this series needs to continue. This series needs to be seen by a huge audience. This series needs an anime. But I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I also have to say that I'm really glad that the creator chose to make sure that these volumes, especially the last two, they made sure that even though this is the ending of the series, at least you can see how much this meant to him, or meant to them. And we get to see the creation of the two series that, the one-shots before it. We get to see the first ideas behind, well, what would eventually become Hunter's Guild Red Hood. They made they put the one-shot that was this original story into the manga, and well, it's very close to it. Honestly, I think that it's just that little bit more interesting to see how this story came to be. I think that there are certain things from the one shot that I wish they had actually gotten to play with a little bit more in the main series. In the main series, they make it out like Grim can't fight without being her adult self, but in the one shot, they make it seem like she's actually able to do quite a lot. She's learned how to use her technique, what she knows, and there's a lot more story behind that. I think it's reasonable that they chose to not do that for the main series, because quite likely they wanted to make sure that that part of the story, that piece, got to be told in completion. And honestly, I'm really happy about that. Then there is the epilogue. Taking place about a year afterwards, it is continuing the story, showing that, honestly, the creator knows that they want to go more with this. they have so much more left to tell through this story, and this epilogue just shows that. All of the little pieces between that, when they first get off of the ship, off of Ironworks, to this point, there's all that year that's left in the open. What happened there? And then from that point onward, to see exactly what they do with finding more witches, with saving people, with trying to end the scourge that is werewolves. How they save people, including the werewolves. All of that has been clearly thought out, and they want to continue this story, but they can't. Because not enough people joined in. And unfortunately, it means that we probably will never get to see just how much Yuki Kawaguchi really wanted to tell. The stories, the adventures of Velo and Grimm, and the stories pertaining to the rest of the cast. Tilty, Milty, Bonkers, and the rest of them. Every single character had a life that we just never got to see. What will that be in the future? Who knows? Would I absolutely love to join in on the fun when this finally gets made? Abso-freaking-lutely. And would I want to be a part of that as the story comes back? Yes, please. I don't know who exactly I would have to talk to get that honor, to help out in any way, shape, or form, to make sure that this series, this truly amazing series, gets to continue. But I want to see it continue. And the simplest way that you can do that is by supporting the release. Go to your local bookstore, purchase as many purchase the volumes, buy a few extra for your friends who are trying to get into manga and anime, and send them their way. Tell them about this truly amazing series and what it means to you. That is what we need if we ever want to see Hunters Guild Red Hood continue. And I wish we could. I absolutely do. This isn't Vigilantes with its proper send-off that it got. This is Hunters Guild Red Hood, the series that came and went far too soon. Who knows exactly how long it will be before they decide, you know what, we're bringing this back. But I, for one, I want to see it. Maybe we just need to wait until My Hero Academia finishes, and then, or at least the main part of it finishes, at which point maybe Horikoshi will jump in and help Kawaguchi to figure out exactly what they need to do in order to keep telling this story, working together, because Horikoshi knows. He's been in the same position as Yuki Kawaguchi has. He's dealt with the failures and got back up again. And whether that means that we will just see a new series come from them, or maybe it will be Hunters Guild Red Hood continuing. Who knows? I, for one, I hope that it continues. And if it doesn't, I'm going to support Kawaguchi in whatever they decide will be their next step. Who knows? Maybe it will be something fun and insane. Maybe it will have something to do with hermit crabs. For those of you who don't understand that, that's basically... Kawaguchi has kind of always... Horikoshi has always shown himself as the weird hands, the dual hands working together or whatever. Kawaguchi has, at least so far, has always shown themselves as the hermit crab. First in the first book, being under a book, then in the second one, I believe, was like in a crab or some other weird thing. Not important, but who knows? Of course, that does have to do with Kawaguchi's first one-shot, but who knows? I honestly have no idea, but would I absolutely love to see Velo and Grimm show up again? Absolutely. I don't know how it will happen, but I hope that other people will get to enjoy this series as much as I did. But until that happens, well, this is goodbye. This is goodbye to Hunters Guild Red Hood. Quite possibly the best series ever. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys next time. But on.